Hells Angels, one of the 6 head of the Hells Angels in 1991 was Bush Sr. And at that time...
All right, well, Richard, you're going to have to send me an article on this or something if you want to go over it. I appreciate your call. I've actually... I'm not going to get into it. Let's go ahead and take a call here. Let's go ahead and talk to Derek in Minnesota. Derek, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hey, no problem, Alex. What's going on? I thought you were talking to GSP for a second.
I don't know what's GSP.
Oh, George St. Pierre. He's a French-Canadian MMA fighter. I thought you might know because you pay attention to mixed martial arts now and then. Anyways, you had Charlotte Iserbate, I think, on sometime recently.
Yes.
And she wanted to go over the CNP issue. And during that interview, you actually claimed that Joel Skousen agreed with her position on the CNP, and that's completely incorrect. Actually, Joel Skousen you had on previously, and Joel said that the group was ineffectual and did nothing but collect fees. And Iserbate said that they were nothing but dirty, and that they're the top of the Republican Party, the dirtiest of the dirty players in power.
Sure, but I mean, Derek, you know, like you imply, she wanted to talk about it. I had her on specifically for a second interview because at the end of a show once she was bringing it up and the show ended. So I had her back up for more than 30 minutes to get into it. Then it went off into Ronald Reagan. And I'm going from memory about what Skousen said. He was talking about conservative groups in Washington. I thought he'd said the CNP, but we'll have him back up and bring that up to him. You know, I do 3-4 hours of radio every day, so
Notice here that Alex Jones is acting as if he does not completely remember what Joel Skousen said in the interview that Alex conducted previously with him. However, Alex Jones had already stated in the Charlotte Iserbate interview as a fact that Joel Skousen shared her position. Alex claimed that Joel Skousen was in agreement with Charlotte Iserbate, and that's completely incorrect, and Alex knows damn well what Joel Skousen said, and if Alex can't remember exactly what Joel Skousen said, then Alex should not be stating as fact that Joel Skousen agreed with Charlotte Iserbate. This is at best real poor journalism, or at worst a complete whitewash. Between this and all the other evidence, you can make up your mind which it is.
To him, you know, I do 3-4 hours of radio every day, so I mean, I had her on to cover the subject. I mean, is there something wrong with that?
No, not at all. I think it's about time you talked about it. I mean, you've been covering it up for like how many years now? People have tried to bring it up to you, and you've claimed that it was a CFR-funded left-wing conspiracy theory, and it was a big distraction.
Well, sir, I'm above left-wing and right-wing, and I do think the Council on Foreign Relations is more powerful than that conservative spinoff group. But, I mean, people invent things to be controversies as drama queens. People are so jealous of this show.
Here, Alex Jones claims that people are drama queens and these people just make things up. Well, who made what up, Alex Jones? You made up that Joel Skousen agreed with Charlotte Iserbate. That was completely not true. That was absolutely made up. Derek in the Midwest, did not make up anything, and I am certainly not a drama queen. Who is it, Alex Jones, that screams louder and more violently than a silverback gorilla being raped by a bulldozer 6 days a week on his radio show? Is that Derek in the Midwest, or is that Alexander Emmerich Jones? Alex Jones also claimed that he's above the left-right paradigm, and I find that absolutely silly, considering what took place just a short matter of hours later when he had Phyllis Schlafly on the show, and the first words out of Phyllis Schlafly's mouth were praising the Republican Party and talking about how the Republican Party is what's going to be the answer to the New World Order and what we can do to take back our government. And she believes in a two-party system. She doesn't support any third party. Good Lord. I mean, we're going to take a look at these clips, and you can tell me how much above the left-right paradigm you think Alex Jones really is. I'd also like to point out how Alex Jones reacted at the end of my question when I confronted him and he attempted to give an explanation and basically stuttered his way into the commercial break. People make things up, the drama queens that try to hate or seriously, I mean, Jones, if you took that New World Order obelisk from out of your jowls, you might be able to speak more properly, or maybe just, you know, if you weren't talking out of your ass and lying constantly, that might help too. But that's exactly what that was. Let's take a look at that one more time.
But, I mean, people invent things to be controversies as drama queens. People are so jealous of the show.
And take note of Alex Jones's nervous little laugh at the end there.
So jealous of the show. So jealous of the show.
And here is the interview where Alex is complicit in covering up damning information about the Knights of Malta, the Council for National Policy, and also Phyllis Schlafly promotes the two-party system and promotes the Republican Party, and Alex Jones allows her to get away with such nonsense after telling me, sir, I'm above the two-party system. Well, you let Phyllis promote the Republican Party. That shows that quite obviously, Alex, you are not above the two-party system.
Phyllis Schlafly, back with us, really needs no introduction. She's the national leader of the conservative movement since the publication of her best-selling 1964, A Choice Not an Echo. She has been a leader of the pro-family movement since 1972, when she started her national volunteer organization, now called Eagle Forum, who's really done a great job all over the country fighting the NAFTA highways. Ms. Schlafly's monthly newsletter, called the Phyllis Schlafly Report, is now in its 43rd year. Her syndicated column appears in 100 newspapers plus. Her radio commentaries are heard daily on over 500 radio stations, and our radio talk show on the education called the Eagle Forum Live is heard weekdays on 75 stations. EagleForum.org is her website.
Well, I can't predict what Obama's going to say. I know the media have been trying to predict everything, but I think he's not moving to the center. He's just a left-wing socialist like he's always been, and he's trying to soothe people with some good words. I believe in the two-party system. That's what we've got. I'm not a supporter of any third party. I think that we're going to have to retake the conservative control of the Republican Party, which we did in 1964, and then we did in 1980, and somehow it slipped away under George W. Bush, but we can get it back, and we welcome the Tea Party people.
So first, Phyllis claims that Obama is a left-wing socialist like he's always been, implying that to be a socialist, you have to be left-wing or a Democrat, which that couldn't be further from the truth. The Democrats and the Republicans are exactly the same party. They really are. We have a one-party system in America. Then after that, Phyllis Schlafly says that she believes in the two-party system, Republicans and Democrats, like we have here in America. She does not support any third party, which is absolutely ridiculous. She says we have to take back the Republican Party. These statements show you that Phyllis Schlafly is absolutely a planter for the one-party system. Nothing more. Phyllis then goes on to say that the Tea Party people will take back the Republican Party, which indicates that the Tea Party is indeed absolutely a controlled movement that was meant to happen.
I'm certainly not for making drugs legal, and you know it was on the ballot in California, the trendsetter of our country, and I think everybody thought legalization of marijuana was going to take place, and surprise, surprise, the people voted it down.
Well, I've got to say, I mean, you know, we've got triple the heroin, double the cocaine flowing in we had 20 years ago.
Well, that's because the big majority of it's coming in from Mexico, and I think we should take every step necessary to stop it.
Is Phyllis insane? It's coming in from Mexico? Are you crazy? Since the war in Afghanistan, opium production is up close to 100%. It's up, I believe, 80 or 90% opium production. That is exactly how the heroin is getting into this country. Not from Mexico, from Afghanistan. Karzai's brother is one of the world's leading opium producers and dealers. And to say that it's coming in from Mexico is absolutely ignorant, and for someone who is politically involved as Phyllis Schlafly, this can only be an attempt at a cover. And if Alex Jones were any kind of journalist whatsoever, he would call Phyllis Schlafly out on trying to promote angst and hatred between the United States and Mexico.
Of course, when you have freedom out there, the conservatives can win because we have good arguments and we can make our case, and the liberals can't get any ads to run their show because they're so boring and they don't have any answers.
Well said on that front.
There she is again, keeping people caught up in the left-right paradigm. And Alex Jones says what to that? Well said on that front. Alex, you've given yourself away. Too many times.
Do you know Charlotte Iserby, who was the head of policy at the Department of Education?
Yes, I do.
What's your view of her work?
She certainly did very good work and exposed a lot of mischief in the education department and in the public schools.
What about Phyllis Schlafly? I mean, is she New World Order?
Phyllis Schlafly, who I know very, very well. And I have to say something for Phyllis, although unfortunately she has really been, and I've worked with her on this, she's been on the wrong side with charter schools. She's never seemed to get it. But I have to give her credit on the Constitutional Convention. Nobody has done better work to keep us from having a Constitutional Convention than Phyllis Schlafly. I personally, don't ask me why she can be so good on that, and then support charter schools, which are going to be the vehicle which will bring this country down into the planned economy with unelected boards across the board.
Well, Charlotte, let me help you out a little bit here. The reason that Phyllis Schlafly has been so good on stopping the Constitutional Convention, but so poor on the charter schools, is because that's how this works. They set people up to do 95% good, but they also do 5% bad, and not just bad, but terrible. And they put these people out there, like Phyllis Schlafly and like Alex Jones, and they say so many true and good things that it's hard to believe that they're actually bad. But in all reality, they are working for the opposite team, for the New World Order.
Where does the CMP stand in all of this?
Well, they don't have any policy position. They just meet to have a good time and meet at the Ritz-Carlton and enjoy talking to a lot of important people.
Isn't it interesting here how Schlafly portrays the CNP the same exact way that all the other globalists portray the CFR, the Trilateral Commission, and the Bilderberg Group? They try to tell you that, oh, these are just rich people that get together behind closed doors because they want privacy when they speak, and they just get together for dinners and speaking and have a good time. Well, you say, Phyllis, that the Council for National Policy does not have any policy position, but the name of the group is the Council for National Policy. How retarded do you think the American people really are? Look at who funded and founded the CNP, and then try to tell me that they have no policy position. I call bullshit.
Yeah, I did see a Seymour Hersh report that said that the military in the U.S. is being run by the Knights of Malta and by Opus Dei, and then I'd seen claims going back decades that those groups were powerful inside the CMP. What do you think of what Seymour Hersh is saying?
Well, those people are all Catholics, and I can tell you there are not very many Catholics in CNP.
Yeah, because I guess it's James Dobson and people who are Protestants in there.
This statement is absolutely incorrect, and Alex Jones knows it. In truth, the CNP is a combination of all the members of the religious right, Catholics, Protestants, and all other denominations of religious right leaders. And it can also be easily proven that the Knights of Malta do indeed run the Council for National Policy, as well as many other organizations, up to and including the United States military.
And they don't have any policy statement.
Absolutely.
And the Knights of Malta, most of what they do is charitable work. It's completely a Catholic organization. I don't think they have any political.
Sure, I mean, absolutely. From looking at the CMP roles, it's predominantly Protestant, but at the same time, I mean, certainly there's powerful networks.
I'm sure they would be offended if you said the Knights of Malta and Opus Dei ran it.
Was it set up by the Hunt brothers?
No, I think in the early days, Bunker Hunt was a member, but the other Hunt, the famous one, was never a member.
More lies from Phyllis. William Herbert Hunt and Nelson Bunker Hunt both provided the startup capital for the Council for National Policy, and Nelson Bunker Hunt was actually the president of the CNP in 1982 to 83. Alex Jones and Phyllis Schlafly, both exposed.